The night air was crisp, and the city glowed in scattered pockets of light, like faint stars fighting to shine through an overcast sky. Amidst the hum of traffic and distant chatter, a young woman sat quietly in the back seat of a car, her reflection trembling against the cold window glass. Her name was Lily Parker, 23 years old, soft-spoken, gentle, and carrying the quiet strength of someone who had learned early what it meant to survive hardship. This was supposed to be her first real date. She had imagined something cinematic, a cozy restaurant, soft lights, maybe music playing in the background. But her reality? A small, run-down diner at the corner of the street with a neon sign that flickered like it was too tired to keep glowing. She hesitated before stepping out, her heart sinking just a little. Was this what he thought of her? She had said yes because she believed he was different. But now she wasn't sure. If you believe in kindness over appearance, love over luxury, and second chances, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who still believes in hope, and subscribe for more stories that remind us that good hearts still exist. The man waiting for her was Daniel Brooks, a construction worker in his late 20s. His shirt was clean but worn, his shoes dusted with traces of work. He didn't look like the kind of man who could promise luxury, but his smile carried warmth. They had met weeks earlier, when Lily's old car broke down outside her workplace, a tiny bookstore where she worked long shifts behind the counter, serving customers who rarely looked twice at her. Daniel had stopped to help without hesitation, fixing a loose wire with rough, calloused hands. He never asked for anything in return. His sincerity lingered in her mind, and when he shyly asked if she'd join him for dinner, she couldn't say no. The diner smelled of fried food and burnt coffee. A faded jukebox played an old love song, ignored by everyone except maybe the ghosts of couples long gone. Truck drivers hunched over their meals, waitresses moved with weary rhythm, and Lily found herself wondering what she was doing there. Daniel motioned her toward a booth near the window. He was nervous. You could tell by the way his hands fidgeted with the menu. He smiled, a little unsure, as if to say, "This is the best I can do." The menu wasn't impressive. Pancakes, burgers, fries, cheap and greasy. But when Lily looked up, she noticed something. Daniel wasn't studying the food. He was watching her, with gratitude in his eyes, like her simply being there meant the world. And slowly, her disappointment began to fade. Their small talk turned into laughter, and then into stories, real ones. Daniel told her about his father, who had died when he was still a child, leaving him to raise his younger brother. Lily shared how her mother had worked 2 jobs, sometimes skipping meals just to make sure her daughter never went hungry. The cheap diner melted away around them. The chipped plates, the flickering sign, the noise, it all disappeared. For a little while, there was just them, 2 souls who understood what it meant to struggle and still keep dreaming. Daniel spoke about wanting to start his own construction business someday, not to get rich, but to build affordable homes for families who needed them. Lily listened, her heart swelling at his quiet passion. Then, the moment that changed, everything happened. An elderly couple entered the diner. They moved slowly, hand in hand, their love as fragile and beautiful as glass. When they ordered, the woman quietly told the waitress they could only afford to share 1 meal. Daniel's gaze followed them, his expression thoughtful. Then, without a word, he stood up, walked to the counter, and pulled out his worn wallet. Lily could see how thin it was. Yet he paid for the couple's meal, asking the waitress not to tell them who had done it. Lily sat frozen. That one act said everything. He hadn't brought her to a cheap diner because he lacked care. It was because he wanted to be real, to show her who he truly was. A man who didn't have much, but gave freely anyway. Her chest tightened as she fought back tears. The elderly couple ate with smiles, never knowing who their secret angel was. But Lily knew. She saw Daniel differently now. The man across from her wasn't poor. He was rich in ways money could never measure. As the night deepened, the air between them softened. Their conversation grew deeper. Daniel confessed that every dollar he saved went toward his younger brother's education. Lily admitted her fear of never being enough for anyone. Daniel looked at her, his voice steady. "You're more than enough, Lily. The world needs people like you, people who still care." And then something unexpected happened. Lily stood up, tears glistening in her eyes, and hugged him. Right there, in the middle of that shabby little diner. The waitress stopped mid-step. The truckers turned to look. The jukebox hummed softly in the background, as though the whole world was holding its breath. It wasn't the kind of hug lovers share at the end of a date. It was something deeper. Two souls recognizing each other in a world that often forgets what love really looks like. Weeks passed, but the story didn't end there. The waitress told other customers. The truck drivers retold it on the road. People began to whisper about the young man who gave everything he had, and the young woman who saw beyond appearances. Daniel and Lily kept seeing each other. Their dates were never fancy, but always full of laughter, warmth, and understanding. Years later, Daniel finally saved enough to start his construction company, and the very first home he built wasn't for profit. It was for them. A small, humble house built with his own hands, brick by brick, love in every nail and beam. On their moving day, they returned to that same diner, not because they had to, but because it was where everything began. The waitress still remembered. She smiled and whispered, "I knew it that night. You two were meant to last."